Yes, everybody, Russ on the West Ham Network. Hope you're safe and well. Happy Monday afternoon. Hope your week is going swimmingly already. What happened over the weekend? England qualified for the semi-finals of the Euro 2024 against Netherlands on Wednesday. We've got them. And obviously we signed Max Kilman for around £40 million, which we'll talk about in a minute. Lunchtime today, Russell Rumour Roundup, as per usual, with the original Rumour rating. Going through half dozen or so players we've been linked with, latest information, latest news, and up to about 157 players we've been linked with, which I think last year is 160 something. So we're well on the way to surpassing last year's number. Congratulations. And we're not even a month into the transfer window officially. So we're going to concentrate today on the current squad and players currently in the first team or surrounding the first team as well. So let's crack into it. Let's go and talk about Danny Ings. Obviously, the club apparently are preparing themselves for bids for Figuered. Obviously, he was linked with a swap deal with Jean-Claire Todibo. So was Kurt Zuma, both apparently as well. But these haven't bitten just yet. There is a potential, maybe, with Naif and Rennes, his former club, because Arthur Vietra, who was due, the Belgium international centre-half, was due to go to the Saudi Pro League. That's since fallen through due to some sort of, I don't know, they call it sort of fine print in the contract. So that could be up. And we know that Rennes have had an interest in bringing Naif back, and Naif has an interest of going back to the side that we joined him from. So we'll wait and see with that. But Danny Ings is what we're going to talk about now. Danny Ings, apparently, according to Sean Wheatston, he doesn't want to leave. He wants to fight for his place. He wants to fight for the right to play. And he's not close to returning to Southampton this summer. The Saints did approach West Ham earlier this transfer window, but the striker does not want to leave the London Stadium. Of course you don't. He's on £125,000 a week, mate. Reports from the Sunday People yesterday suggested that Simon Martin's side were close to agreeing a fee of around £6 million for the 31-year-old signature, with the two clubs haggling over the structure of the transfer. However, he's under contract at West Ham, so he can't. It's within his rights to reject a move, really. If he doesn't want to return to the South Coast, then we'll have to find a way to get him out on the pitch more. Or, I mean, there was talk of us maybe subsidising his wages with Southampton in order to maintain it, because Southampton won't pay £125,000 a week wherever he's on. So that could be an option, but apparently he's not keen. He's not keen to move back to Southampton. That coincides with a sort of a relative stalemate between us and Southampton over the valuation of Kyle Walker-Peters. And since, obviously, then there's the whole discussion with Flynn Downs as well. I think that's something you'll probably see moving a bit more towards the end of the transfer window, particularly with Danny. He's not considered in the first team, first 11 in the squad, but I don't say he's going to start for Julien's side when we come to play Aston Villa. So that could be one that maybe is one of the ones which happens towards the end of the transfer window. But at the moment, happy to fight for his place. One man who is likely to be out is what I call the forgotten man, Luizao. Do you remember him? Rob Newman signed him from Sao Paulo, part of that sort of Brazilian network that, if we're led to be believed, kept Rob Newman in a job since Tim Stein came in. Until recently, obviously he's left since, but he was, people thought he'd be out in his ear, but he wasn't, because of that sort of relationship that he formed with Brazil, with a number of Brazilian clubs in this Brazilian network, which obviously Stein has been utilising with Luis Guilherme coming in. Talks about Obviously, we're looking at Bruno. We looked at Bruno. We didn't talk about Bruno. Vitoa, Wesley Kosovo. So lots of players. John Arias from Fluminense, the Colombian winger. Several other players we've been linked with from the Brazilian Serie A. So, but Luizao was the first one. And according to PL Brazil, he could end up playing in Turkey at Antalyaspor. The centre back was a product of the Sao Paulo youth system and made his way into their first team in May 2022 before being sold to West Ham in January 2023. Didn't make a single appearance, hasn't made a single appearance for the West Ham first team and settled for minutes in the under 21s. I've seen him play. He's okay. A little bit nervous still, even when I have seen him play. He got injured towards the end of last year. So didn't get, I think it was the last sort of few or four games, wasn't featured. But last month, Antalyaspor appointed Alex de Souza as their new coach. Now, why is that important? He managed Luizao at Sao Paulo under-20 side in the past, and it's claimed Alex has made a special request to Antalyaspor to sign the 22-year-old this summer, and his entourage would welcome this move. Luizao's contract expires in 2026, and his wish to play more regular minutes, either in London or another club. Apparently, David Moyes was the main obstacle for him to get a chance in the West Ham first team. Now, if the Spaniard, obviously, with Julien coming in, if the Spaniard were to leave him out of his plans even more, then obviously Antalyaspor would be an attractive option, maybe attractive option anyway. I mean, there was talk of Luizao going back to Brazil or Portugal, because obviously in Portugal they speak Portuguese, same as in Brazil. And apparently West Ham had blocked 18 loan proposals for Luizao in recent months, including from Palmeiras, Crescenzo, Baja, and Atletico MG. So lots of interest for him from Brazilian clubs, also from Portuguese clubs as well. But it could be Turkey might be the destination if he's clearly not going to be part of Julien's. And actually, I haven't even thought about Luizao within the realm of centre halves at West Ham. So let's see what happens there. It's completely been the forgotten man. You think about Caelan Casey being the one from the academy to step up. Obviously, Michael Forbes has gone out on loan to Bristol Rovers rather. My apologies. And Luizao could be, he's left-footed, but he doesn't instill me with confidence when I've seen him play. I'll be honest. Don't see it. I don't see it. Having seen him play several times for the academy live. And lastly, let's talk about our new centre half. Let's talk about Max Kilman. Now, obviously, we've seen before clubs, particularly Chelsea, take advantage of of loopholes to pay off transfer fees across the entire length of a contract. Hence, why you saw a lot of them like Casado, Mudryk being like 7-8 year contracts in order for that to happen. That's not the case now, as the FA, the Premier League have closed that loophole. So clubs within the top flight can now only spread the cost over a transfer over the first 5 years of a player's contract, which apparently West Ham is what West Ham's going to do. So £40 million across 5 years, which means obviously then we've still got money in the bank. It still goes into accountancy for Wolves as £40 million into but the actual payments will be across 5 years. Sean on we said on Twitter said on X on Twitter said that West Ham will write down the cost of Max's fee over 5 years at £8 million per year and not his contract length. Now Premier League regulations forbid over 7 years. The loophole subsequently be closed in both PSR and for FSR. The maximum number of seasons you can spread is now 5. So obviously, rather than fork out a massive transfer fee in one big deal, it was a straight 40 million. There was no add-ons or things like that, or it was literally 40 million. So we've obviously balanced the payments over the next 5 years to ensure we remain within any restrictions imposed by the Premier League. So hopefully this will mean we can continue and Steiner can continue adding further additions to the squad. We're led to believe striker is now the position we're looking at. And as we said at lunchtime, Alexander Zoloff from Villarreal, the 6'5" Norwegian international strike partner of Haaland. He's apparently on the radar, as well as several other options, including the top, because Alexander was the second top goal scorer in La Liga. But apparently, he put a bid in for the top one in terms of Dubrak from Girona. So, but apparently, it's been rejected, around £35 million. But that's according to reports. But we'll keep an eye on that. So, I highly expect seeing a lot of activity in the next couple of weeks, obviously intensifying, ins and outs, but maybe not Danny Ings by the sounds of it at the moment. I think maybe towards the end, when he's seen he's not going to get much game time, and if we can subsidise his wages, because why do you want to move unless you want to play? Why would you move for less money? Southampton will not offer him 125. We stumped ourselves in the foot there by doing that, and so we may well have to subsidise in order for that to happen, in order for that move to be moved across potentially. Anyway, so that's it. Until next time, don't forget to check out musicmybrand.com for latest news, reviews, and opinions. And also thank you to our lovely friends at Alloy Collectors. Great. Now, I don't know if I should be sharing this. I said it. I still don't know where we should be sharing it, but they've got a new one coming out. The 1965 shirt, obviously inspired by the new home strip as well. So you could get the whole squad, and put their names on the back. So obviously they had their names back in the day, but more dear, all that lot. And we'll make sure Stag gets one as well. I'll hand that to him personally. He'll love that. And until next time, take care, stay safe, stay warm, stay humble, keep the faith. Come you irons.